Hey guys, happy Tuesday night. Hope you guys are doing well. This is another video. This was actually a request from a friend of mine. She wanted me to talk about toxic or deceptive friendships and how to overcome them. So I wanted to do this video. I told her I was going to be on here around this time, so hopefully she pops her head in. Two things I want you to do as you're watching this video. Number one, I want you to make sure that you are sharing this broadcast, that you are tagging people in this broadcast. And then number two, I want you to make sure that you are realizing that some of the things that I'm saying and calling those things nuggets, okay? Now, if I find a better word, then I will, but a nugget is basically something that stood out to you that I said so we can keep the conversation going. We keep the conversation going by putting the things that stood out to you, the nuggets, we put those things in the comment section so you can go over the things that you felt like, oh my goodness, that was cool. I like when you said that. That was super dope. I really like that, blah, 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 blah. So then that way we are keeping the conversation going inside of the comment section, okay? Remember to tag and to share this broadcast, and to most importantly, make sure that you are keeping the nuggets in the comment section. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Ashley Swain, and I am here to motivate you and to help you be a better person. So this is why I'm here, and this is why you're here, and we can all help each other become greater, okay? So we're talking about toxic or deceptive friendships, how to overcome those things. And as you guys are coming in, I want to say hello. Hey Jasmine, hey Mojack, hey Stephanie. So as you guys are coming in, let's get this conversation going. So I know that you, and I don't even know if you guys have the heart selection, if you can heart this up. I don't know if this is the same thing as Periscope, and I may be wrong, but I know there's a spot on here where you can press the like. So I know that some of you have dealt with people. Hello, hey Forever Young Donnie, thank you for stepping in. So yeah, the hearts there, thank you. I know it wasn't crazy. I was like, I know there's something you could put on here. I appreciate that. So anyways, I know that some of you have experienced deceptive or toxic relationships or friendships. We ain't talking about relationships, we're talking about friendships. People that you have put around your life that have been, maybe they weren't as deceptive in the beginning. Maybe they weren't as toxic in the beginning, but as time went on, their true colors were revealed. Okay, so this is that conversation for that. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. So this is that conversation for that. And this is not really a bash session. This is more of something that I've experienced. I know that you've experienced. And of course, this particular person that requested this, I should actually invite her right now. Let me see if I can invite her. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. Because I'm over here learning some new stuff on here. Okay, so I just invited her. This is actually her request. She wanted to hear about this. Okay, so you guys, if you know me, you know that I'm very long-winded. So I got my little trusty notes here. Okay, so number one, how do you know who's deceptive? How do you know that somebody is toxic or somebody is not for you or somebody is trying to get over on you? These are some of the things, and I know there's plenty of different signs for somebody to be toxic or deceptive. I'm not going to keep saying that because y'all know that's pretty much the same thing. So many signs for them to be somebody that's not for you, okay? Let me make sure I got the comments going. So, okay. So, one thing is they're always negative. This person is always negative. Their life is always, woe is me. They're always the victim. It's always that person, not them. They never take responsibility for the things that they do. It's always turmoil in their life. Now, they may be going through that season, but not a season of negativity, but a season of maybe pruning, and God is probably doing something in life, maybe, you know, preparing their testimony. That's not the same thing. It's the difference between being negative and being the victim in everything. Now, of course, you could have been a victim, but every time I see you, you're always irritated. Every time I see you, you're always negative. I'm just trying to get by. You know, it's never anything positive. You not even waking up this morning is anything positive. It's always something negative. They're always keeping up with junk. It's always a problem. Those are the kind of people that you know are very toxic, and you need to run as fast as you can. Definitely keep them in prayer. Definitely be, you know, try to be a positive light in their lives, but sometimes you got to just let them be where they are, unfortunately. So the first thing is they're always negative. They always have the victim mentality. Is always the other person did this to them. They're never taking responsibility. Hello, welcome everybody. Number two, they're always leeching. It's always a way for them to get over. It's always a way for them to get over. It's never them giving. It's always taking. Those are the kind of people that you really do not want to really be around, okay? You can help them, but usually it's kind of a dead-end street. You really just end up on the dead-end street. Now, it's a good thing to help, but not to overexert yourself to the point where you're losing out on so much because you're trying to give everything to this person that really does not care about you in the first place anyways. And then number 3, they're unreliable. It's always what can you do for them, but when you need them, they're nowhere to be found. Hey, Arian, I like your name. So they're nowhere to be found. They're, they're never around. Whenever you need them, oh, they got to go to work, or they got to do this, or, their house blew up today. It's always an excuse. It's always about how can you do something for them. But when it's, when you want to turn it around, they're never around. Okay. And then number 4 is people with no purpose. And I don't think a lot of people talk about this, but when you're around somebody that does not have a purpose, that's a dangerous person to be around. If you are not literally motivating them in a positive professional manner, or you're their therapist, you don't really need to be around them, because when you're around somebody with no purpose, it's hard for them to see you shine. It's hard for them to be happy for you. It's hard for them to say, you know what, you're doing great. It's hard for them to encourage you, to support you, to do anything positive for you, because they don't know who they are. So how can they look at you and say, oh, I want more for that person, if they don't even want more for themselves? So that is a very dangerous person to be around, when somebody doesn't even know who they are, don't know where they're going, they have no vision, they have no purpose. You need to stay away from those kind of people. Definitely pray for them. Definitely try to, encourage them as much as you can, but you don't want to get caught up. Hey, Kendra, I hope I said your name right. You want to make sure, Keandra, I want to make sure I said your name right, but you want to make sure that you're not caught up in trying to fix their problems. And I know that I've dealt with that. I can say that from a personal manner. I used to be a person that wanted to fix everybody's problems and help everybody, and I see you going, you dealing with this stuff. I want to be the superwoman. And you know what? I had to realize after a while, I keep getting burned over and over and over again. I need to work on Ashley, and it's nothing wrong with that. I need to work on Ashley, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I need to help them on a case-by-case situation, not every time, because sometimes you can give somebody everything you have, and then when you're broke down and jacked up, they're nowhere to be found. Okay, and this is the last one. Another sign of somebody being a toxic person is that they never remember what you did for them, but they can let you know what you didn't do. So they can write, they never remember all the time that you were there for them. They don't remember, they got complete amnesia. But as soon as you say, I'm not going to be able to do that, oh, it's a problem. That is a very toxic person to be around. And if somebody can't realize the benefit that you are in their life, then you need to show them that you don't need to be there anymore, period. Okay, so this is the other thing I wanted to talk about. Because you don't want to walk around the earth and be that person that constantly says, you become the victim, where you're like, every year somebody trying to get over on me. Every 2 months somebody trying to get over on me. Then it goes back to this. You need to do some self-check. You need to ask yourself, do I love me? Or like, for real, I know that sounds kind of deep, but just walk with me with it. Do I love myself enough to know that I don't need to allow, hey Carla, that I don't need to allow this kind of behavior? Because what you don't want to get caught up on is you don't want to continue to have the same situation with different toxic people. You have to do a self-check and ask yourself, what is it about me that this constantly happens? Now, you may have this happen once a year. Okay. Sometimes people are acting as if they need you and they need help, and you want to help them, and it kind of backfires. But there's a difference between every other month somebody getting over on you. You have to ask yourself, do I love me enough to know what is a good relationship and what is not? Why am I feeding into this situation when I know it's no good for me? Why am I allowing this behavior? Now, I'm saying that only if it's happening over and over and over again with different people. Then you have to really do a self-check on yourself and say, it's something about me that's allowing this. It's something about me that's telling people, hey, use me use me, you don't want to be that person, okay? And now sometimes it can kind of get you on the blind side, you know, here and there, but it shouldn't be a constant thing. And then number two, you want to make sure that you're setting boundaries, okay? It has to be set of boundaries and a set of standards, okay? And you can always say, you know what, I'm not allowing this anymore, okay? And then going to that person and say, you know what, this is what I will allow and this is what I won't allow. And that's why it's important for you to learn how to do a self-check and to understand how to stand up for yourself and to know who you are. Because it can become something that is growing and growing, and then you wake up one morning, you're like, okay, how did this even happen? You know what I mean? I thought this friendship was good. Now, in this situation, now, because this may be something different, the second thing I wanted to say was you want to block communication. Now, this may be hard when it's coming down to if you were in a marriage and the marriage ended. You still got to talk to your husband if you have children, or your ex-husband when you have children. So you want to tread lightly on the block communication. If this person is vindictive, toxic, and they are ripping your energy, you just want to make sure that when you are around them, it's about the kids. Or if you're working with them or something, you want to make sure it's in a situation where it's not necessarily hurting you, but you're in a public place, so where it's not like you guys are alone together, okay? And it may not be a marriage situation. It could be just a pure friendships. Maybe you may cut off this friend, but you guys all have mutual friends. So you got to learn how to deal with them in a way where it's not becoming, every time you see them, you're irritated. Every time you see them, it's, oh my God, I can't stand this person. You don't want to do that, because then you know that you're walking really in unforgiveness, or you're walking around with that bitterness in your heart, and you won't grow or prosper with that in your mind. You just won't. And you'll figure out, you'll be like, why I can't grow? Why? No, because you're still holding on to what they did to you. So you got to move on from that. You got to find it in yourself to move on from that, okay? And then the most important thing I would say is, if you're not able at that point where you can block the communication in any way, you have to really say, just, you know, going back to the setting the boundaries of saying, you know what, I don't need this kind of friend. I don't need somebody that's going to be pulling me down. I don't need somebody that's not growing. And this is the thing too. We don't want to also get so caught up in all my friends got to grow, because you do have different levels of friendship. You have friends that you just hang out and chill with, you laughing, and you know what I mean? Then you have your business friends. It's all great when you got them all locked in one, but realistically, you know, you have some friends where, you know, they just living their life. They just want to travel. They're not worried about nothing serious. And then you have your more relaxed friends where they're like, you know, I want to do this in 3 years. This is what you know what I mean? Everybody has a different level of friendships, okay? So that goes back to that setting of boundaries. That goes back to that setting of standards and knowing who you are, and to know how to set a boundary with somebody, meaning basically saying, I'm not going to allow this, and this is what I will allow. And if you still want to be my friend, which in this situation, if they're toxic, you want to let them go. You want to end the friendship. But you're still setting that boundary, because sometimes, this is what I want to say too, because sometimes you're the negative friend. And I know that doesn't always feel good, but sometimes you're the toxic friend. When I'm telling you all these things about being negative, maybe sometimes you are the victim. Maybe you're the person that shouldn't even be friends with that person. It's not always, oh, this person toxic. Maybe you do some self-check and ask yourself, am I the toxic friend? Am I the issue? Am I always walking around being negative? Am I always putting people down? Am I never encouraging, never supporting my friendship? So it's not always them. It could really be you. Okay, so the last thing is be honest and have communication, or to know when to block the communication, okay? Because sometimes you can talk to somebody and say, you know what, I didn't like when you did this, and I felt like this was inappropriate, and it didn't make me feel good, and I'm kind of questioning where you are and who you are to me. And then you may get across somebody that you're telling them all that stuff, and they're not trying to hear it. They're like, no, it's you, and da-da-da. So then, you know, you have to end the friendship, okay? So I know this is kind of going all the place. You might have to look back at the video, but I know that everybody on here that's watching this, either you're watching it live or you're watching it later. Hey Sarah, watching it live or watching it later. I know that you can relate to this, that you've known somebody right now. Hey Raven, that you know somebody right now that is extremely negative. Hey Tanisha, I hope I'm saying your name right. That you know somebody that's extremely negative, and you want them out of your life. Listen, you allow, you know what I mean? You get what you allow out here in these streets. Thank you. You get what you allow, okay? So it goes back to that self-check. Ask yourself, do I really care about myself if I'm going to continue to put myself in a situation where it's like this person is bringing me down? You know what I mean? You got to get back to that. Who am I? What am I willing to deal with? What I'm not willing to deal with? And I'm at the point in my life where I'm not willing. Hey, Brittany, I'm not willing to get in situations, friendships, situationships with people that are not growing, with people that are not trying to elevate in their lives personally and in trying to help me some kind of way. And so I can help them, because I know that the kind of friend that I am, if I'm growing, we're growing. So you got to be mindful of the people that you're dealing with, and remember that you have the power to put them out. Just like they came in, you have the power to take them all the way out of your circle, out of your space. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Anybody want to tell me about any situations they had, or basically any situations they had where they had deceptive friendships, any toxic? How did you handle that? We can keep the conversation going by really just getting to talk about that. Like, how did you handle that? I know for me, I was that person that continued to deal with people that just continued to just leech, continued to do things to me where I knew it wasn't right, because I didn't care about myself. I really did. When I really thought about it, I'm like, so why am I allowing this? Because you got low self-esteem. That's why I had to get right to myself. Like, okay, why are you allowing this? Because you got low self-esteem. Why are you allowing this? Because you're not using wisdom. Why are you allowing? Because you're not using discernment. Why are you allowing these people to do this to you? Something inside you got to say, you know what, enough is enough. I'm not going to deal with this. I don't have to deal with this, and I'm moving on. And it's going to take, like my Aunt Marsha always says, you have to be real with yourself first. And if you can't be real with yourself, then you need to stay in the house until you can. Because a lot of times people are dealing, hey Tiffany, a lot of times people are doing things to you because you're allowing those things. And it's a painful thing. Now, you may have those one or two instances where you really were completely blindsided. But that's why you have to use discernment. That's why you have to be real with yourself and be honest about what you're allowing, what you're not going to allow. Okay, so I definitely want us to keep the conversation going in the comment section. I really appreciate you guys for even putting your comments in and coming in. Make sure you're number one, making sure that you are tagging and sharing this broadcast, and number two, that you're sharing the nuggets, some things that you heard me say that you're like, you know what, I really love when you said that. I can relate to this. This was what happened to me. Hey Renee, this happened to me. This is how I overcame it. Definitely, I want to close it by this. You definitely want to make sure to forgive and to move on. Like I said earlier in this broadcast, a lot of times we can't understand why we're not growing, why we're staying stuck, because we worried about what happened to so-and-so and what they did to us 6 months ago. I'm not saying forgiveness is the easiest thing. I'm still a work in progress. But I will say that as you continue to let that thing really, really trample you and become a huge stumbling block in your heart, I'm telling you, you will not grow. I'm telling you, you will not get ahead. I'm telling you, you will always stay stuck because you can't get over it. So you have to forgive and move on and release that person from that hurt that they put, so you can heal and move on. That's the name of the game. You can't be successful when you still worried about what they did to you. You have to move on. And even if you got to write it out, if you got to tell yourself, if you got to go to church, if you got somebody to intercede for you, whatever you have to do, affirmations, mantras, whatever you have to do, you have to acknowledge that it happened, that you were in a toxic relationship, friendship, dealing with people that were not for you. Acknowledge it, communicate that, and forgive it and move on. Okay? So like I said, make sure you're tagging, inviting friends to this broadcast, making sure that you're tagging people, inviting friends, making sure that you are definitely sharing your nuggets. Sharing the things that stood out to you in this broadcast, okay? So I will see y'all tomorrow. I'll be doing a video. I'm trying to do videos 5 days a week. It's going to be crazy, but I'm going to do it. And I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. Y'all have a good day. Well, good night. Bye.